There's a moment in history when brilliance doesn't tiptoe in. It kicks the door wide open. Viking shipbuilding wasn't simply ahead of its time. It bent the rules of naval architecture in ways that still make modern engineers scratch their heads. These ships didn't just sail. They dominated. They rewrote what mobility, adaptability, and pure naval swagger looked like. And today, we're diving straight into how a society without power tools, steel mills, or computer modeling created vessels so advanced they could dance through oceans like they were alive. Let's get into the real secrets behind the Viking longship and why its engineering still whispers lessons to modern builders, soldiers, explorers, and anyone hungry for frontier wisdom. How Vikings turned wood into a tactical superpower. Viking shipbuilders started with a mindset completely different from the great empires around them. Instead of making ships that fought the sea, they made ships that flowed with it. Flexibility wasn't a flaw, it was a weapon. Their hulls were built using overlapping planks, a technique called clinker building, which created a strong but shock-absorbing structure. These ships didn't break under pressure. They flexed, shifted, and moved with waves like a second skin. And here's the genius. While most medieval ships were fat, heavy, and stubborn, Viking ships were long, lean, lightweight, and brutally efficient. Imagine a vessel that could outrun storms, sneak into shallow rivers, then slip back into open water before anyone knew what hit them. That wasn't fantasy. That was standard Viking naval design. Modern carbon fiber hulls try to mimic this combination of strength and lightness. But Vikings did it with oak, pine, iron rivets, and just a raw instinct for hydrodynamics. These ships moved fast. Not fast for the time. Fast, period. With sails catching the wind and warriors rowing in unison, longships could hit speeds that rivaled early modern naval craft. What made that possible wasn't brute force. It was balance. The hull sat low enough to reduce drag, but high enough to cut through waves. The keel gave direction without killing agility. Every curve, every seam, every rib was built for motion. This speed gave Vikings the ultimate advantage. They could strike, disappear, and relocate before their enemies even mounted a defense. Kingdoms couldn't predict them. Armies couldn't catch them. Coastlines couldn't defend against them. And this is where their shipbuilding becomes more than engineering. It becomes strategy, real wisdom from the front lines, where technology and tactics fuse into something unstoppable. The Vikings cracked a code most civilizations didn't even know existed. Ships didn't have to choose between oceans and rivers. They could conquer both. Longships were incredibly shallow, allowing them to glide across waterways only a few feet deep. While other navies were stuck at harbors miles away from targets, Vikings sailed straight into the heart of towns. They bypassed walls, fortifications, and armies simply by rowing up a river. This meant one thing: mobility was everything. And mobility wins wars. It's the same lesson armies learned in World War II when speed, maneuverability, and rapid deployment changed the shape of global conflict. The Vikings figured that out 1,000 years earlier, but with wood, rope, and human muscle. Flexibility wasn't just for movement. It made the ships tougher than anything their enemies had. Because clinker-built hulls overlapped like shingles, incoming force spread across the entire frame. Nothing concentrated in one spot. Waves hit the ship, and the ship absorbed the shock like a living body. This is why Viking ships could cross the North Atlantic, one of the most brutal stretches of ocean on Earth, without falling apart. Some voyages took weeks, yet the ships held. Modern naval tests on reconstructed ships show just how impressive this was. Their hydrodynamic efficiency and wave handling capabilities sit shockingly close to modern standards. This is where Viking brilliance hits another level. They didn't use schematics, they didn't draw plans. Everything was built from memory, tradition, and experience, passed from master builder to apprentice like a sacred code. The symmetry you see in Viking vessels, both side to side and front to back, is almost perfect, and it was done using simple tools, taut ropes, eyeballing, and intuition honed through generations. Every ship was custom-made for its purpose: war raids, cargo hauling, ocean exploration. Each vessel was tuned like an instrument, and the builders knew exactly how to shape wood to change the ship's performance. Modern engineers have run computer models trying to understand how Viking ships maintained such perfect hydrodynamic balance. The answer always returns to the same place: extraordinary craftsmanship guided by an instinctual understanding of how a ship should move. The Vikings didn't build ships just to travel. They built ships to define their civilization. A Viking wasn't truly free until he had access to the sea, and a Viking ship wasn't just a vessel. It was identity, economy, survival, and destiny wrapped into one wooden frame. It's the same idea modern war historians recognize when studying elite forces from World War II. The tool doesn't just support the mission, the tool becomes the mission. The Viking longship is proof of that. It was a weapon, a home, a lifeline, a statement. And that's why their shipbuilding secrets still matter today. Whether you're interested in engineering, strategy, or survival, the Vikings left behind a blueprint for excellence that really doesn't age. The Viking longship wasn't just a technological marvel, it was a mindset. A reminder that innovation isn't really about tools, it's about vision. And honestly, it's about daring to build what others think is impossible. And for the crew of Wisdom from the Frontlines, this is the kind of history that sharpens the mind, fires up ambition, and reminds us that genius can come from anywhere, even the frozen edges of the medieval world. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more powerful lessons pulled straight from the battlefield, the workshop, and the pages of history, make sure you subscribe, share this video, and keep this channel growing. Your support, well, it keeps the wisdom flowing.